Hi, kids. So last week we focused on interpersonal interactions in global virtual teams. We talked about cultural differences. We talked about personality differences. So things that can go wrong between or among humans, and sort of how we work together as people. Today or this week, we will focus on the technical side of that communication. So in global virtual teams, in X culture, your team members will be all around the planet. And the only way you can communicate and collaborate with those people is through technology. So we are not in the same room, so we cannot just sit down together and talk. We need to have some tools that will allow us to communicate, even though we are thousands of kilometers, thousands of miles are away from one another. So we have a training module that specifically prepares you for this sort of communication, but I wanted to provide you with a quick introduction to this topic. And so first and foremost, I would like to say that you will start communicating using email. So once you pass the theory training, you will be placed on Teams and you will receive an email in which you will have the names of your team members and you will have the email addresses of your team members. And then from that point on, you can communicate whichever way you want, but the initial contact will be via email. Now, I know that kids today, and I have two of them, rely a lot on texting. So they communicate with their friends using text. It could be Snapchat, it could be whatever you guys use, whatever technology you have. WeChat in China, Viber or WhatsApp in Europe. So the problem here is that when you talk to friends whom you see on a regular basis, and all you want to say is just a few words, texting is perfect. But if you are a group, a team of consultants, and you have to develop a difficult solution or big solution to a difficult problem, obviously you have to say much more than just a few words. So Snapchat, text, it's just simply not enough. It will not be deep enough, not informative enough, not detailed enough to sustain or to satisfy the need of a consulting team. You will have to work with much bigger documents. You will have to say much more. You will have to have discussions in a group, not just with one person. So text, not enough, period. It's okay if you maybe become friends with some of your team members and you use text or Snapchat or other form of chat for everyday communication, not related to the task. But for the big task that you have at hand, it's just simply not enough. Now, email. Many people love email. People think that email is a sufficient tool for a business team. And the truth is that it's not. Email is great. I love email. I use email all the time. I send literally probably at least 100 emails every day and receive a few hundreds. But email has a lot of deficiencies. So there are many limitations of email that makes it a good but not sufficient, not good enough tool for a global virtual team. First of all, email is too slow. In global virtual teams, people are located all around the planet, right? And in fact, let me use my microphone here to illustrate. Hopefully it will work. So imagine that you're located here and your team member is located here. So that means that when you have the daytime, like for example, for me, it's about 10 a.m. now. My team member, for example, in India or in Australia or China has late night now. So like it's midnight now in, for example, in Sydney, right? And so what that means is that if I send an email to my team member now, the team member probably will not see it because the team member is about to go to bed. So by the time the person will see your email, it will be tomorrow morning, right? And that will be his tomorrow morning. By the time his or her tomorrow morning comes, for you, it will be late night. You will be at that time going to bed. So once the person sees the email, even if the person replies within seconds, by the time you receive that email, you probably will be watching a movie and going to bed. And so that means that you will not see the email and not will read it until your next morning. And then again, if you reply, it will be another day before the person sees the email. So this way, even when everybody communicates rapidly and right away, with email, it literally may take 2 days just to get the reply. It's very slow, right? And sometimes you need face-to-face, real-time communication. Second, and this is even more important, email is very impersonal. So that means that email, you only see sort of somebody's name as a couple of words on the screen. It's very important for the team success to develop this sense of personal relationship in the team. And email is just not good enough for that. You definitely want to have at least occasional Skype meetings or maybe some other video call, maybe through Zoom or Google Hangouts. So it's very important that you get to know your people. You recognize their faces. You see them as people, not just a couple of words on the screen. And so email is very impersonal. You can't really see people. You can't see how they talk. You can't get to know them through email. So it's very important to go beyond that. Now, email is also very sort of provides delayed communication, not only because of the time zone differences, but also we usually don't keep email always on. So even if I get emails, in fact, I have now probably a few dozen unread emails, I may get to them sometime later today and I will not read them for a while. And so if it's something urgent, I probably will not even see it for a few hours or maybe even sometimes for a few days. So email is not good for a discussion. Email is good for sending someone something that is not urgent, that can wait for a few days. And then in that case, email should be fine. But if you want to have a live discussion where I say something, you reply right away, I reply right away. So if you want to have a conversation, email is just not very good. I mean, you can do it, but it will be very slow and it will be completely destroyed or disrupted by all the things that happen between the emails. So often you want to have a brainstorming session where, you say something and you hear the feedback from your team right away and you respond right away. So email is not good for that. Finally, email is not very good for file sharing. It's very important to understand that in X culture, you will be working, the final product that you need to produce will be a document, will be a report, will be a proposal that you will give to your clients. It will be a multi-page document. So it will be something like, like you've printed, it will be kind of document with 10, 20, 30, 40 pages. And so you need to write the document together, right? So there will be 6, 7 team members on your team, and you have to produce the document together. And so the problem here is that everybody will be working on that document a little bit every day, right? And so with email, it just wouldn't work. So some people think, oh, but I will send the email as an attachment to my team. Well, that's a problem because every time somebody writes something and sends it by email to the team, a new version of the document has to be created, right? So you download the document, you work on it, and you send the new updated version to everybody. Well, when you have 7 people and everybody does some additions or revisions each day or week, soon enough you'll have too many copies. You'll literally have dozens, if not hundreds of copies, which means that it will be almost impossible to figure out which one is the latest copy. And so what will happen is that I will download a copy, I will work on it, I will send it to the team, but the team already has like a dozen copies in the file, in the email account. So somebody for sure will open an older version of the copy, work on that one, and before you know it, you have like 5 copies of the document that are all current and all have something different. And then you'll have to go through the painful process of trying to merge them together. You see, oh, Bob's copy has this, and Sarah's copy has this, and Mohammed's copy has that. Very, very complicated. I guarantee you that if you rely on email attachments to together work on a document, I guarantee you, you will end up with conflicting copies and you will waste a lot of time on trying to figure out how, which one is the latest one. So you need more. You need tools that will allow you to get to know each other, right? So you need tools where you can communicate in real time. You can see each other's faces. You can get to know each other. You also need tools to schedule those live meetings. If you have team members all around the planet and everybody is somewhere else, how do you know what time works for everybody? Time zone differences, schedule differences. So you need tools that will allow you to find the best time when you can meet. And there is actually a tool like that. For example, Doodle is very good for this. You need to have live meetings, as I said. So you can use Skype, maybe you can use Google Hangouts, maybe Zoom, maybe some other, maybe even WhatsApp or WeChat. But there are multiple tools and you need to learn which ones are available. decide which ones are the best for your team, and then agree that that's what you will be using. Importantly, as I said, you will be writing a document together, right? So that means that you need tools for document co-editing. So tools where there is one and only one copy of the document, and everybody has access to that tool, to that document, and you can write it together without creating conflicting copies. And so again, you have several very good tools for that. I personally like Google Docs and Dropbox. So both of them sort of keep the document in the cloud, and every time somebody wants to work on the document, you sort of kind of log in and it's on your screen. You work with it, but it makes changes in that one specific copy. With Google Docs, in fact, several people can work on the file at the same time. And you literally, sometimes you would be writing the document, working on your section of the report, and then you see somebody else logged in and also is editing the document. And you see how that person's, your team member's words appear somewhere and you write something. So sometimes it can actually be a lot of fun. But the important thing is that you can work on the document together at the same time, and it will still be one document. So any changes you made, it's not going to create conflicting copies. So very, very important. And so there are tools like that also. Dropbox allows you to do that, and even more. And then finally, you want to have more than just communication and document co-editing. You also want to have a system in place where you sort of manage the project together. So you want to have records of prior communications, conversations, files that you uploaded, maybe some research you found and you uploaded. Again, in email, it would be very hard to do because, if everybody copies everybody on the emails, you'll have hundreds of those emails. You lose track of what, where, and what is where. So there are tools that allow you to sort of have this one platform where everything is stored, and it's easy to look through the past conversations, easy to look through the documents that were shared before. So there are tools like, for example, Slack or Trello, or maybe even if you want to, you can pretty much manage it all in Dropbox. Again, there are ways to do it there. So, but whatever you choose, it's important that you will need much more than just occasional emails. And so there is a training module. Let me see if I can open it to show it to you how it looks like. There is a training module here that will show you what tools are available and will give you some instruction on how to use them, as well as how to choose the right tools. And so you'll have a few pages of just general introduction, but then you have a list of tools that we have found through our research that they're very useful for global virtual teams. I strongly encourage you to think about using them. You don't need to use all of them, but I would recommend to use at least some of them. Like, for example, you probably will want to use Doodle to schedule meetings. If you will be using Microsoft Word files, like, for example, in Dropbox, you want to learn how to use the track changes function so that every time you make a change, your team can see that a change has been made. Skype is a very useful tool. Obviously, I suppose you know what Skype is, but if not, it's like a telephone with video, right? Then you have Google Docs, as I said. It allows you to work on the same document, multiple people working on it at the same time. Dropbox, it's an even stronger or more advanced tool. Facebook groups, Viber groups, WhatsApp groups. I'm not sure if you want to create them, but again, it's a very convenient way to keep the conversation in one place. So you will not be able to say much, but you will be able to, if needed, add video. You will be if needed, you will be able to have a phone call. You can share the files, you can share the screen, and at the same time, you can have it all collected and recorded in one location so that later you can review, see what the team worked on. Google Hangouts, again, another tool. And as I said, Slack and Trello, that's a little bit more advanced and you probably won't need it, but I recommend you to at least take a look. And so for each of these tools, we have two videos, one that gives you a quick introduction of what it is, and the other one explains how to use this tool in more detail. So each of those videos, just a couple of minutes. I recommend that you watch them and you will know then better, kind of have a feel of how it works. So finally, it may be a good idea to start looking at the companies that you will be working on. So we already have posted several challenges. There will be more. But for example, let's say you like chocolates and there is a company from Ghana, Eb Ovo Confectionery. So it's a company that makes chocolate. So when you click on this link, you will see the description of the company and you will see the questions that they want you to work on. and you can start thinking about writing the report. And so that's where those tools will be useful. But you might want to take a look there and see what's available. So you will be receiving an email sometime today with the link to your next test. It takes a little time to grade the previous test to make sure that your answers were correct. So you may not see your grades right away, but soon enough we will send you a review so you know what your performance was like. But for now, as I said, start reading the training module number 5, the technical side of working in global virtual teams. Wait for the email with the link, and once you receive it, start working on the test. And yep, I guess we have a couple more weeks of preparation, and I hope you all will pass the theoretical training, and I hope you all will be able to advance to the practical training stage and will be placed on teams in a couple of weeks. Good luck to you, and yeah, thank you.